We're not going to slow down now. Somebody is going to walk out of the cage after this fight with a new belt. Who wants to see somebody win a belt? That's kind of cool, isn't it? That is what fight number 11 is going to bring you. Brought to you by our friends Jason Jones, JSS, Jones Subwoofer Solutions. The biggest bass and the best in the audio industry. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Just give them a call, they'll hook you up. They are bringing you an amateur vacant flyweight title fight. That means we are scheduled for 5 3-minute rounds, and somebody's walking out of here a champion with a belt. Coming out first, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 124.5 pounds with a current record of 4-5. Doing it for Team Link. Make some noise for Jordan Munoz.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, making his way out to the cage right now, we have Jordan Munoz. This man is 28 years old, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 124.5 pounds. He is coming in here with a record of 3-6-0. Darren, what do we know about where he's training and what do we know about this guy?
So I actually don't know much about his gym, but I do know quite a bit about him. He has a record of 3-6-0, but do not let that record deceive you. At 125 pounds, like he's currently competing, his record is 3-1. So 125 pounds is definitely his place to be, and he's earned his title shot here. He recently got an upset victory over the number 2 or number 3 ranked bantamweight flyweight in Utah. And I'm excited to see how he's going to come out here and perform. He's been fighting for quite a few years. He has a little bit of a wrestling background with his dad, and his dad, Eric Munoz, was a professional fighter here. So he was able to actually make his debut alongside of his dad some time ago.
Right, and so as far as his gym, Team Link, you've got the Silverback Gorilla, Eric Iman, right there, giving some Vaseline on his face, and their MMA head coach, Pedro Sejao, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and a phenomenal MMA competitor as well. So it's a great gym. They've been around for a while, up in the northern Utah area. I believe they're in Davis or Weber County. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly where they're located, but they're up that way. Again, they've been around for a long time. Eric Munoz, like you said, his father, who was kind of on a tear. I think he fought every single fight night in 2022 before he retired. So great genetics on his part. You know, he's coming from a good pedigree of not just family, but also the gym that he trains at. So I'm excited to see this one, see how he does against Chris Anderson.
Yeah, he says he's been working on his striking quite a bit, and I'm excited to see it. Let's bring it to the cage and see what his opponent looks like.
All right, and his opponent tonight for the SteelFist Fight Night flyweight title will be fighting out of the black corner, standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 124 pounds with a current record of 4-3. Doing it for 4-7 Training Center. Let's hear it for Chris Anderson.
Making his way down to the cage, we have Chris Anderson, who is 28 years old, weighing in at 124 pounds, and has a record of 4-3-0. He is training over at 4-7 Training Center. What do we know about those guys, and what do we know about Chris Anderson?
Well, Chris Anderson, first of all, has kind of been on a tear his last 2 fights. He's came out and won pretty decisively, both of them in the first round. He does have a few losses, but you know, that's part of the game. He's definitely earned his spot for this vacant title tonight. 4-7 Jiu-Jitsu, or originally it was 4-7 Jiu-Jitsu, now 4-7 training. You've got Brad Martinez out there. You've got tons of guys out that are just phenomenal athletes that don't just train, but they also fight. Dave Oh crap, I just lost everybody's name that used to be in my database, so I'm sorry, but there's a lot of great guys out there. If I forgot your names, I am so sorry, but great group of guys, and they've been putting out a hell of a show every time they come out. I'm excited to see what he does tonight.
Yeah, something I've noticed as I was going back and watching these fighters' performances, Chris Anderson, he seems to have a little bit more of a top-heavy jiu-jitsu game, whereas Jordan Munoz has a little bit more of a bottom-heavy jiu-jitsu game. So I'm interested to see when it goes to the ground how that's all going to play out.
If it goes to the ground.
Yeah, if it goes to the ground, or if they're going to be using their striking that they both have claimed that they've been working on recently.
Well, and you've seen Christopher Anderson win his last fight by strikes against Christopher Carrillo, who we saw come out and get the win tonight. And then as far as Jordan Munoz, you know that he's got hands too. And so I'm excited to see how this one goes. Are they going to go to the ground or are they going to stand?
Good touch of the gloves, and we are off with our first title fight of the night at 125 pounds. 3 5-minute rounds.
Potentially.
I actually said that wrong. 5 3-minute rounds.
5 3-minute rounds, yes. Same amount of time, though.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Whoa.
Ooh, nice head kick attempt by Munoz.
Munoz is switching stances quite a bit.
He is, and going, throwing a right head kick to the head, and he's throwing a left head kick up, and then goes to the legs.
Both of these guys are looking really good, though. Really dialed in.
Ooh, nice head kick attempt by Anderson as well.
Good job pulling that leg back to make him miss that leg kick. Chris Anderson comes with an overhand.
And then eats a nice right by Munoz.
Chris with a bit of a blitzing attack. I think he might.
Nice combo.
It's Jordan Munoz has a bit more of the reach here, yeah. So Chris Anderson's having to close that distance. And he's got it done. He's got that body lock now.
See what he's able to do from there. I did like those combos, the way that Anderson was moving in off of those strikes.
I like Chris Anderson hitting him with some clavicle strikes here, some shoulder strikes. Ooh, those inside the thigh knees do not feel good.
Good cage control by Anderson. Really working those legs with his knees while holding that dominant cage control. And there's a takedown attempt. Let's see what he's able to do with it. Ooh, beautiful stuff by Jordan.
Going for that guillotine, but Chris was able to catch his hand, so he wasn't able to lock it up.
Arm in, creating that distance that he needs. But Munoz is putting that pressure on now with Anderson's back against the cage.
Yeah, man, these guys are really well matched up. I mean, a lot of people, when the fight first got announced, were overlooking Jordan a lot, but, he's doing a really great job. I mean, Chris Anderson was able to get that takedown.
Watch for Chris to try and slide that knee through. You see how Jordan's kind of trapping it down. And I think Chris might ride out the round here. Ooh, nice shots. Good ground and pound to end the round. Ooh.
All right.
Was Munoz climbing up for an armbar?
I'm not sure what's going on back there.
Good hip movement. I like the way he was turning.
Yeah. Good job by both of these guys. On my unofficial scorecard, I think Chris Anderson just had a little bit more control in that first round, did a little bit more damage, especially there at the end. Great way to finish out that round.
No, that was a beautiful exclamation point on the end of the round. One thing I was watching that I was impressed with was Jordan Munoz. The way that he was transitioning looked like he was going to shoot in for that armbar. He did spin around really good. He changed his his angle to be perpendicular to the arm. His hips came up real high and his knees were up good. I would have loved to see what could have happened with a good 10, 15 more seconds left of that round. So, he's still game. He was getting hit a lot with those strikes, but he wasn't freaking out, and he did transition into be a little bit more offensive in his performance instead of just defending against those strikes.
And now we are back to the feet, whether they wanted it or not. And that's kind of where Jordan was having a little bit more success at the beginning of the round. Just kind of peppering some shots up there. Nothing too substantial, but he was able to find his range and land a couple things.
Ooh, nice leg kick.
Chris Anderson with a nice cross there.
And Munoz is able to turn off of the cage and put Chris against Chris's back against the cage, which is very different than what we saw the majority of that first round.
Yeah, no, they're both just, right back and forth. I won't be surprised if Chris is able to reverse it here. He's able to get a takedown now. Jordan's back on his back, but he's immediately starting to work for a submission.
Look how he's climbing up.
He's got the arm, well, almost.
Yeah, he's perpendicular. He's got the arm isolated. And Chris is defending really well. Watch the slam.
Oh, man, jumps off that slam last minute. That was a good call there. And Chris is able to scramble to his back. Now these dominant positions, this is where Chris Anderson likes to do his best work. Landing strikes, mixing it up. Whereas, earlier I was saying that Jordan Munoz does most of his jiu-jitsu stuff off of his back, traditional jiu-jitsu style, as Chris Anderson likes to do it more from the dominant positions, which is probably more a proper way. Oh, but he's under the chin. Ooh,
good defense by Jordan. That's defending against the proper hand, not the hand that's under his chin, but the hand that secures the choke.
But Chris is getting the strikes. But he's got that, Chris Anderson has that body triangle. Nice job. He does a good job about getting Chris Anderson's feet to the ground. But he just has to keep on trying to fight and turn into him. Chris is able to get him back up in the air. Just kind of covering his mouth, making it hard for him to breathe.
He's putting a lot of pressure on right now. Landing some good strikes. Jordan did a good job rolling underneath, gave up a bad position for another bad position, unfortunately.
But it is still a little bit better than being back mounted. Now let's see if Jordan's able to maybe get a little bit of composure here, and maybe he can start working his way out of being mounted. He's doing a good job of at least kind of lessening the damage that he's going to take as he's on the bottom by holding Chris Anderson close to him. Makes it so you're only eating little rabbit punches instead of full-on top mount strikes.
Right.
Jordan's fighting for the reversal, but
he's doing a good job riding on the inside there. He's turning, he's transitioning, but Anderson just held those positions perfectly. And he landed some good shots in those dominant positions, especially when he had his back.
Yeah.
So Anderson went for the rear naked choke, wasn't able to secure it, but he was able to at least continue going for it, being offensive. He was landing some strikes and was able to ride out in that dominant position for the remainder of the round, or the majority of that round, in fact. So I definitely think that that's a round for Chris Anderson.
Absolutely. Jordan Munoz, he's still in the fight, though, and he's still doing really well. And he's had a lot more success while he was on the feet, so I'd like to maybe, if I was his coach, tell him not to engage in the clinches on the fence, which led to that takedown at the beginning. Maybe try and keep that distance a little bit more so he can try and get back to the domain where he was finding more success, because so far in the grappling, from what we've seen, has been Chris Anderson having the more dominant performances.
And Chris Anderson over there with 4-7 training, they've got a background in the Walt Bayless Jiu-Jitsu, which is a little bit more aggressive and more wrestling-based Jiu-Jitsu. But then they've also got an amazing wrestling pedigree out there with people like Rad Martinez out there with part of their coaching staff. So that ground game is not just Jiu-Jitsu, it's a very wrestling-heavy Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, and there we are. Jordan back to getting some strikes from up top. But that's not saying that, Chris Anderson's not completely outmatched on the feet. Chris Anderson has been finding some great strikes as well. It's just a little bit closer, a little bit more in Jordan's direction when it's up on the feet here.
Ooh.
But Chris Anderson quickly closes that distance and gets it right back down to where he wants.
But Jordan, Chris was trying to do a lateral when Jordan was dragging him down with that head and shoulder, and he wasn't able to really angle that side very much, and Jordan ended up in the the dominant position on that takedown, but then Anderson.
Big slam by Chris Anderson.
With a beautiful slam. See if he does it again.
Right back up to his feet. He's fighting the hands. Now he's just got to try and turn into him as best as he can. Now that grip is broken, and there it is.
Great job by Munoz getting out of that position.
I'm impressed with Chris Anderson's timing on these shots that he's taking, these body lock takedowns that he's going for. Except for a little bit of hesitancy out of Jordan. He might be picking up on that. If he overcommits, he doesn't want to get it taken down, or maybe he's just putting some fillers out there. Not sure exactly what he's going for.
Well, they're kind of taking the time. They're in the third round of a 5-round fight. You don't want to overexert if you don't need to. Kind of time it a little bit better. Wait for your shots.
That was a good uppercut attempt there by Jordan Munoz. I'm not sure if that landed from my angle. Oh, but Chris Anderson gets a nice cross on him. And
then right back to the cage. Work that cage control. He's high on the crotch right now. Look for that takedown attempt. Either suck out or go for the actual stand up and drop. Oh, now he's got to defend against the guillotine. Yeah. Gets his head out.
Inside of the knee. Oh, that hurts so bad. Or inside the thigh.
Ooh, very aggressive. Lands that nice left. And drives right against the cage again. Ooh, big shots. Munoz is down and Anderson is attacking. Good defense from Munoz. Good defense from Munoz. Prevents a stoppage.
He's got like a half butterfly.
He's got a half butterfly. Yeah, now you can tell he's trying to advance his position, but that pressure from Chris Anderson not going to do anything for the end of this round. And we're going to see round number 4. We have officially gone through into the title rounds of this fight.
Yeah, this is, I think Jordan Munoz, he's going to need a stoppage here if he's going to want to win this. I think Chris Anderson has had the dominant performance so far.
I agree.
Doing great. I mean, that wrestling background that they have there, or that, whatever the name, that jiu-jitsu style that you were saying, where they're more wrestling heavy.
Yeah, well, the Walt Bayless Jiu-Jitsu, I believe Jason Merlich was the head coach over that started 4-7 Training Center back when it was 4-7 Jiu-Jitsu. I believe he's a black belt in Walt Bayless Combat Jiu-Jitsu. A very heavy wrestling on top of the submission aspect of it. And then again, Rad Martinez is a top-tier wrestler that was able to turn that top-tier wrestling into top-tier MMA. And he's out there teaching these guys how to do the exact same thing, and you're definitely seeing that from Chris Anderson.
And Jordan Munoz, he's doing everything he needs to right. His timing is just a little bit slower than Chris Anderson. So as he's turning into him, Chris is already adjusting onto the next, chain wrestling takedown that he needs to go for. Which, I mean, it's easy for me to sit out here and say that it's a little bit slow, but, especially after 3 rounds of fighting.
Objectively, he's he's objectively slow. And in real life, he's pretty dang fast, and he's doing a great job.
Did a good job of circling off the fence there as Chris Anderson charged in, because that's what he's kind of blitzing in with these attacks and grabbing that body lock takedown. I think now that Jordan's backed up against the fence, he might go for it again. I would like to see Jordan just keep on moving a little bit more to not give Chris those opportunities like this to dash in.
No, Chris is doing a really good job. He's very explosive when he shoots in, and he throws those punches to close the distance, which is what you want to see in your teammates when they're fighting. You don't want them to just shoot in without hands. You don't want him to zombie walk in. You want him to punch and close that distance, and Chris is doing an amazing job of that.
Yeah, he's absolutely setting up those takedowns properly. And where are we? He's got a guillotine.
No, he's got a headlock. But he does have full guard, so Jordan Munoz does have full guard, so he is, we've seen him twice shoot up for that armbar, and we know that he's got submission ability from his back.
Yeah.
So
It's just maybe a little bit difficult right now with his positioning because his head is pressed up against the cage. There's not much room for him to climb up, but he kind of cornered out and he's trying. Yep. But Chris Anderson's trying to keep his neck pressed up against the cage there.
Yeah, not give him a chance to drive over.
And
there
Chris
he goes.
To get to half.
There he goes, pin the arm down. Start working those strikes. He's doing a good job.
Jordan's working on getting back up.
Jordan does a great job of staying in it through those punches, staying intelligent.
There's a kick on the exit, and Chris Anderson is right back in.
Chris Anderson's being very aggressive in this 4th round. He is not letting up one bit. As soon as Munoz got up, he went right back after him. Like you said before, that head kick on the separation, and then shooting right back in with those strikes.
Chris Anderson's cardio is phenomenal for this. You can tell he's definitely been putting in his road work. Coming into this 3rd round is putting in as much pressure as he is. Or 4th round, my bad. That was a sweet takedown.
Great takedown by Chris Anderson.
Oh, let's see what it is. Kind of looking for a Kimura.
He's looking to take it. He's kind of climbed through.
No, I think he might be transitioning to an armbar. If he can get that.
If he can get the head. If he had a little bit more angle on it, he could go for the shoulder lock. Now he's got the armbar.
But I think Chris Anderson is able to escape.
This round's going to end. He didn't have it too secure and gave up on it. And we're going to see round number 5, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to the title round.
Dominant performance by Chris Anderson so far.
That was entirely Chris Anderson's round. That was a beautiful performance by him. I want to see him come out and do the same thing in the 5th to really secure this victory and earn that title. But
right,
great job. He put the pressure on and did not let off the entire round.
Obviously, right now it's looking like it's Chris Anderson's fight. So what are you saying to Jordan Munoz? Obviously, he needs to finish here.
Finish, and then finish.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally. Some coaches, they're not going to tell you that you're behind on the scorecards. That does happen. I've seen it a lot of times. They'll come out, even though you're not winning, you're doing a good job and you're fighting, but you're not winning. And they're going to come out and tell you you're doing great. Keep it up. Keep it up. They're not going to tell you, look, your back's against the wall. You are losing. You need to end this fight. And honestly, I think that's what Munoz's coaches need to be telling him right now, because he's been doing a great job, but he is losing the fight.
Yeah. And I think he's been closer to the finishes on the ground, and at 125 pounds, it's rare you're able to generate the striking power you need to finish it. So maybe put on a little bit of his own offensive wrestling to try and get to dominant positions to get the finish. But you got to also be careful, because wrestling takes a very long time, and they don't have a very long time to go if he wants to get this finish. But Jordan Munoz gets his back up against the cage, and usually around this time, Chris Anderson will blitz in and get that body
just like
lock.
that. Puts that pressure against the cage. Munoz tried to back out, not able to, but putting the pressure on. Munoz is throwing some strikes here, making it uncomfortable for Anderson. A lot more than what we saw in the earlier rounds against the cage.
He's fighting hard for this. He wants that win.
Munoz has the arm and guillotine. See if Chris is able to pull his head out while Munoz tries to get out of or slip through to closing that guillotine, and see if Anderson pulls his head out, or if he's just going to be, there you go. I didn't think he'd be happy to camp out with his head in there, but you never know.
Yeah.
It is the 5th round of a very aggressive fight so far.
Yeah, grappling for this long has got to be so tiring, but Chris Anderson doesn't look like he's lost any step.
That head pressure that you saw from Chris Anderson right there, putting that head against the jaw to drive through and change the position. Beautiful, beautiful job by Chris Anderson.
Get your head against the cage, start working your way up the wall. Work up the wall, Jay. There you go.
Oh, he's able to get a reversal.
Great transition, but is he in a shoulder choke right now? I believe he's underneath, inside of a shoulder choke by Chris Anderson right now. I'd love to see Chris let go of Munoz's wrist and just kind of take that same hand and put it on his ear like you're answering the phone. Puts that pressure on a little bit more, but he's got the choke position 100% down right now.
I think he might just be trying to ride out the clock here. They've only got 40 seconds left.
He looks like his head's a little high on the shoulder, so he can't push it in. Is push the shoulder into Munoz's throat, or sorry, artery, the way that you do when your head is against the shoulder and you can flush it up. But now he's off to the side. A little bit more of a bully choke. He could be able to do this, but he's got 20 seconds left. Let's see if Munoz is able to kind of drag it out and finish.
I mean, you can see it in his face. He's pushing with all of his pressure, trying to get out of that position.
Well, and Munoz is uncomfortable, but he's not losing consciousness, so he's staying in it. Ooh, and Anderson lets go. Now Munoz is in a dominant position, lands some ground and pound.
Out this last round, landing some powerful strikes.
And that's it.
That was a great fight.
This fight is over. I think the most dominant performance we saw out of Munoz was in the last 10 seconds of that fight. Otherwise, I think this was Chris Anderson's fight.
Yeah, I do believe so as well.
All right, you know what? We don't get paid to be the judges, so let's take it to the cage and find out what the judges say, and let's find out who the new SteelFist amateur flyweight champion is.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I got to admit, these are the fights where I'm glad I'm just the announcer. I'm not sure, man. That was 5 rounds of fighting. Who is going to get to put on the SteelFist Fight Night flyweight belt? Do me a favor while we're waiting. Make some noise for the red corner, Jordan Munoz. And let's hear it from the black corner, Chris Anderson. And let's hear it for the judges. Be nice. Love and respect in the cage. Gentlemen, I get both of you to the center. Do me a favor, gang. Make some noise. Here are your scores. Stephen Farragher with a score of 50-45. Richard Montanez with a score of 50-45. Dan First with a score of 50-45. Your winner by unanimous decision and new SteelFist Fight Night flyweight champion out of the black corner, Chris Anderson!
All right, I'm here with your winner, Chris Anderson. Man, how are you feeling? You just went through 5 rounds of hell. How are you feeling right now?
Great. I feel like I went 5 rounds, so that made me proud because before that we're just doing 3. So it was a lot of fun to go those extra 2. I appreciate Jordan coming out here, pushing the pace. Awesome, man, jumping in here with you. So thanks so much.
All right, is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I've got a list, so if I forget anyone, I'm sorry. I want to thank first and foremost these 2 boys for coming out here with me, Dane and Nino. I want to thank Rad Martinez, who wasn't able to make it because he's coaching the Herman High School boys. I want to thank my wife, who pushed me through my weight cut and camp in general, making sure I go every single night. Tito, for sticking with me through my weight cut as well. Doing all the hard work together in the background. I appreciate that a lot. 4-7, Jason Mertledge, Arnold, Brian, all my teammates out there. Trying not to forget anyone, but I love all the guys that came out and supported me, my brother, my family, my cousin, all my friends and teammates and coworkers. So love you guys so much. Thank you, Kevin and Pat, for giving me this opportunity. Amanda, for awesome pictures. I'll grab some after. I love you guys. Thanks.
All right, are you going to come back and defend this thing?
Oh, and Seth, who is actually out of state right now, but a big part of my training as well, and pushes me through a lot of that stuff, and so I love those guys.
Are you going to come back and defend the belt?
yeah, let's see if we can defend it. If not, then let's see what else is next. So let's see what happens with this next fight as well coming up. That'll be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. We can't wait to see you come back again. Everyone give it up for your winner and new amateur flyweight champion, Chris Anderson.